Decoding Learning Differences with Kimberlyn Lavelle, and this episode is Dyslexia Diaries. I am interviewing Katie and Suzanne, and they are sharing about their new passion project on Instagram primarily, Dyslexia Diaries. It is at dyslexia_diaries, so be sure to check them out. Hello, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberlyn. Nice to be here.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves and give us some background on who you are and what you're doing.
Okay, why don't you go first?
Hi, so I'm Katie, and I grew up with dyslexia. I got diagnosed when I was about 8 years old. So I've grew up having the struggles and fighting the challenges, but I now work in media, so I have a job. So I'm having to find a little tools to help me in like an adult situation, as well as I know all of my stuff from my history growing up in school.
Excellent.
My name is Suzanne Dearman, and I'm a former classroom teacher. I did my Orton Gillingham training about 5 years ago, and then left the classroom to pursue my own practice full time. I also do some consulting work on the literacy end of things with a preschool organization in the city. And because I work with lots of students one-on-one, and Katie is my daughter's best friend and is dyslexic, I had this kind of weird idea one night, and I thought, well, my kids always share things with me. My students always share things with me, and they don't get to talk to other kids with dyslexia. They talk to me a lot and they talk to their parents, but what about the things that they say to me? Like, I would love for people to know some of the things that they share, like their victories, their struggles, their frustrations, and what things really help them. And then I thought about Katie being in media, and I thought, well, maybe we could start a little social media project and call it Dyslexia Diaries. And so that's kind of how this came about. I also am a huge podcast listener, and I feel like more and more people are speaking out that have dyslexia, and they always just say it in a really short little sentence. And then I always want to know more. And I thought maybe we could get those people to share more, like once our little project gets bigger. So that was kind of the inspiration. And Katie is obviously way younger than me and much more savvy on social media. And I just thought maybe we could do this together. So that's kind of how it happened.
I love that. That is beautiful. So, it sounds like your goal with Dyslexia Diaries, and I'm not sure, just to make it really clear for the listeners, that this is just on Instagram right now.
Go ahead.
For the most part, it's just on Instagram. I work mainly on the Instagram side, but we do have it connected to Facebook as well.
Okay.
Right.
So Instagram and Facebook, and it sounds like your goal for this project is to just give a platform for voices to be heard.
Of course, yes. I think it's really important for people's voices to be heard. And as well as I feel like it's really good for people not to feel alone. Because as I was growing up through school, I didn't really hang out with kids similar to me with dyslexia, and I couldn't relate to them as much. And it took me till when I got a cosmetology degree before media, and I found one of my other very close friends there. She is very similar to me, and it took me till I was like 18 years old to find someone who's similar. So I feel like it's nice if people can have like someone very similar to them and have can relate on it.
Right. Yes. Yeah, and that it's a good point because we all in some way often feel alone and like we're the only ones that are dealing with something, but we know that there's a very high prevalence of dyslexia, that it's a very common thing. So even hearing you say that, like that it took you until you were 18 to feel like you connected with someone else with dyslexia, but who knows how many other people you had interacted with who also had dyslexia and felt like they were the only ones.
Exactly. And that's kind of how we wanted to just share these little bits of information. And get people talking who maybe wouldn't typically be talking. I still have teacher friends who are afraid of what does dyslexia actually mean? How do I deal with that in the classroom? Despite the fact that we're talking a lot about it and there's a lot of information out there, I still know lots of educators, even administrators, who just don't really know or they're afraid. And it's just really important for even when my younger students say something that's really meaningful, that teachers, administrators, other parents hear and they can just share that with their kids or adults. I have an adult student as well, and she just even realized that she was dyslexic, sorry. She didn't even know until recently, and I doubt that she has talked with others about it. But I always try to share stories with my kids as we're working and things come up. Like she hates the vowel U, like she hates it. And so I'll just say, oh yeah, I have another student that really hates you too. Like just to these tiny little connections, these funny little things that come up and just make you feel a little less alone or a little less different.
Right. Right. I think that's beautiful. So, what is happening on Dyslexia Diaries? Like, what is it that people will see if they go there?
So right now we're giving a dyslexia myth on Mondays. So I can't think of a recent one right now, but we're giving a whole myth every Monday. Then on the next day, on the Tuesday, we're busting the myth and sharing the truth about it and what the actual truth is. Then we're starting to post just like little snippets of people's writing with dyslexia and stuff. Then as well on Thursdays, we're posting what I wish my teacher knew to give teachers an idea of what it's like to struggle with dyslexia.
And then that might change. Like we just started with that as a launching kind of point. Like, what do you wish your teacher knew? And I just kind of surveyed a lot of my students and got their quotes and put them together. And then Katie and I together put together some myths and the truths. And we're just gonna kind of see where things evolve to. One of our latest posts, and again, we're just like brand new, and we don't really know where it will go, but we are trying to elicit some input from other people out there because we'd really love to get other people sharing things and then we can post it. So yeah, I think that's kind of where it is.
Yeah. So, to any listeners out there who have a story to share, how can they like contact you if they want a story, and what format do you want the stories in?
So we're taking DMs, which are account dyslexia_diaries. So I can reply to you off DM and I can share your message there.
Okay.
We're trying to tag a lot of people. We would love to get kind of a little bit, like this is really great for us to get some exposure through all of your networks. We're gonna, once we're kind of a little bit bigger, we would love to kind of connect with, we're in Canada, so Dyslexia Canada, who publishes a newsletter every month. We also would love to connect with some more well-known people that have dyslexia, and who knows, like maybe they would share on our social media as well. So
Yeah. That is beautiful. That whole concept of just getting everyone to see what it's like and understand the difficulties, as well as just how common it is and how it it doesn't have to. I remember I did look, and one of your recent myths was had to do with like IQ, and that like it has nothing to do with like low IQ, definitely not. It's like and and just making sure that people know that these are, intelligent people who are very capable of so many things. They have a struggle in one area, they have so many gifts in other areas. Like it's just a differently wired brain. So it's nice to see all of that and make sure everyone knows.
Exactly.
And what do people mostly say to you when they find out that you're dyslexic? What's the most common
Oh,
thing they love to say? Do the letters?
a lot of them, yeah, a lot of them ask if the letters fly around on the page because growing up, the like a Disney Channel show, Shake It Up, Bella Thorne, who's an actress on the show, she did a segment like in between shows and she talked about dyslexia and she talked about letters flying around. So I think like everyone kind of in my age group, that's
Mhm.
what they think dyslexia is. And for me, it's not that at all. Like I really struggle sounding out words and spelling words. And I also just miss words when I type a lot.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like not like that at all. But a lot of people ask me that. Then I have gone in where some people do think I have a low IQ or like
Oh yeah.
I get a lot of the blonde jokes as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And when I share with people what I do for my work, a lot of people are like, what exactly does that mean? You're a literacy interventionist. What does that mean? And I say, I mostly work with students with dyslexia and they're like, and teach them how to read. And they're like, I didn't know that dyslexic could learn how to read.
Oh, wow.
Like those are the common
Mhm.
things that kind of prevail.
Wow.
And I also have parents that still have teachers say to them, you need to read more to your child. And this is like in 2025. And I think, wow. So there's still educators out there telling parents that they need to read more to their child. And like that's going to fix
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
it. Yeah. So it's just even reaching people like that don't need to jump on a big, huge bandwagon with us, but like that just need a little bit of exposure to what it truly means.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet,
Yeah.
Katie, I can definitely relate with that whole concept of, oh, the letters are flying around, or they're moving, or they're backwards, or they're jumbled. Like, that is so much of what people were taught dyslexia was. Like, even in my age, like, I remember being in college and a professor, it was Psych of the Exceptional Child, and the professor was like, dyslexia is usually an auditory thing, was what she had said. Now we would say like phonological, but um and it was like she's like it's very rarely have anything to do with visual, but everyone thinks that. Like everyone has this preconceived notion of that that's what it's like. I remember watching trainings before that where they're like giving you something difficult to read because it's all jumbled around or whatever, and they're like, this is what it's like to be dyslexic. And it's like, oh, actually,
No.
yeah, there's a lot of misinformation about it, and it's, it's not an intentional thing, but it's also it's that same narrative just keeps getting spread. So yeah, it's it is a shame, but it's also good that you're out there giving, busting
Yeah.
those myths and sharing the truth and helping
Yeah.
everyone feel like they're not alone. I love all that.
Yeah, we want that. I think one day I hope that people know as much about dyslexia as they do know now about the autism spectrum disorders, because I think that that awareness has really, really grown in the last 5 years, probably. And hopefully in 5 years, maybe the same will be true for
Yeah.
dyslexia.
Yeah. I do think I've seen some growth in that area. The Soul to Story podcast, I think, did a lot of good in that
Yes.
area, like really bringing awareness
Yes.
to both the poor instruction in reading that
Mhm.
was happening and very prevalent, as well as how those with dyslexia suffered the most with that
Yeah,
poor instruction.
for
Um,
sure.
so there's definitely been some awareness, but a lot of it is just beginning awareness. There's still some pushback on it, like
Mhm.
as if it's not a big problem. Um, and even just how prevalent dyslexia is such a big thing for people that need to know. Like this is not a small 0.5% of the population. You don't have to worry too much about like this is huge. Um, estimates 10 to 20% of the population are struggling and in with dyslexia or similar reading difficulties. And it's
Yeah, and I don't think people
yeah,
realize that. My mom is always shocked by that. She just can't believe it.
yeah,
Again, much older, and that was not ever spoken about or known, but yeah, I don't think that people know even those kind of basic facts.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, you had an adult who, as an adult, didn't know that she had dyslexia, and
Mhm.
how many people have had to suffer like that just, and usually then it's just a self-esteem thing because, oh, I must be, they'll say I must be dumb or whatever, and it's heartbreaking.
Mhm. Yeah, it definitely has had a huge impact on her. Um, but she's doing the reps, she's doing the
Yeah.
work. It's amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's so like heartwarming for me to see.
Yeah.
Katie was lucky, I think. I'm shocked because she grew up in a school system that I think is still fairly tone deaf here in Calgary. But she did have a lot of good supports and interventions when
Yeah.
she was young, which is surprising for
Good.
me. I still know teachers that wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that you benefited from then,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like I transferred high schools halfway through and my first one lacked a lot in helping people with like learning challenges and everything. So they were just like they would be like, "Oh, we're giving you a computer. That's it." Like, okay. And I was like, "Oh, like because I need a scribe and a reader, like someone actually there with me because it helps me a lot because I normally need stuff re-explained in questions because I don't understand a question." But then my second high school it was a new high school in the city, and so a lot of the teachers were younger, and I think they maybe want to learn more about different areas. Yeah, I remember how I originally got diagnosed with dyslexia is I went to get tested for ADHD because I feel like teachers just think if someone like struggles a bit, they have ADHD or
Yeah.
something. But in reality, that was not that was not the thing, and I had dyslexia.
Yeah. But they still wanted to medicate you, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they still want oh my God. Oh, so
Oh, yeah. Medicate
good
the
thing we can laugh
dyslexia.
about
Yeah.
it
Oh
now.
no. Yeah, that is. Well, I'm glad you were able to get the correct diagnosis,
Yeah.
Yes.
and actual services, and you were able to even switch schools to a school that could actually provide for you. And yeah, it's really unfortunate that that's one thing I have noticed. I've noticed that not 100%, but very often older teachers are much less interested in learning anything new, questioning what they've been taught, developing new strategies, anything. And new teachers are much more often very willing to learn all the new things, try new things, do their own research, learn new, and really, as an intervention resource teacher, like there were the young teachers that would come to me with ideas. Like, I was thinking I would try this with my students, and I was like, that's amazing, great, perfect. And the older teachers often, again, not 100%, but many of them would come and be like, I don't do that. I'm like, it's on the IEP. I mean, you do. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can help you learn how if you need, but it's not really like optional. So
Yeah.
it's hard. But there were definitely some older teachers who were very excited to learn new things, and then some younger teachers who were confusingly stubborn. So I've seen
Yeah.
all of it, but yeah, there's definitely that tendency for the younger, newer to be more open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had one teacher who was a bit older. She told me when because I have extra time on tests, and she told me I don't get extra time in the real world, and she wouldn't give me extra time. And I was like, oh. Then I've had like other teachers that like I I need to stand up when I do stuff a lot, and like I just need to like do stuff physically to understand stuff. Then other teachers like accommodate as much as like they need to for me to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah. Yeah. And and even that, you don't get extra time in the real world, but you kind of do. Like,
Yeah.
Don't you
I
now?
can think
You
of so many examples of times where you get as much time as you need. Like even a salaried position, like you're working the hours that work to get your job done. Like there's so many times. And also there's accommodations that exist at employment opportunities. Like, this is crazy.
Right.
It's just
And
crazy.
I think you're
And
really
it's
good
not
at
uncommon.
yourself now and your work, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Like,
She does advocate for herself
yeah,
and
I use my phone a lot to spell and stuff.
and don't you teach the people that you work with a lot about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Because a lot of them, well, like even like someone I work with said like, you can rewire your brain to not be dyslexic anymore. And I was like, okay. Okay.
So again, those are the kind of people that we want to
Yeah.
educate just a little bit.
Right. Right. Yes. The brain is very malleable. There's a lot of neuroplasticity, and
Mhm.
there's some fundamental things that aren't going to change. So, yes, we can adapt and rewire the brain to a degree, but no, not not all
No.
the way. That is,
Like this is like something just about like me. I used to be really like not confident in reading out loud and everything. Then I went to school for broadcast media, so I learned basically how to be a news anchor and reporter. So I was like gonna have to sit on a news desk and read a teleprompter, and I was so scared to do it for the first time.
Yeah.
But I learned for me, I struggle the most with when I have to read something that's not like how you talk. But when you're writing news stuff, you write how you talk, then it's also my own words. And they go to your own pace on a teleprompter. But I was so scared to do it. But then it kind of gave me confidence that I shouldn't be so scared to do everything in
That's
life. But
amazing.
that's so I like to think I'm a success story.
Totally.
oh, for sure. Yes, for sure.
Totally.
And that's
Yeah.
funny because I was actually just talking to some parents the other day that were talking about like the public speaking aspect of things and like how a lot of us have that nervousness even without disabilities. We have that like, oh, I don't want to do the public speaking part. I don't want to do a presentation on whatever. And we talked about how once you overcome that and you actually do it, it is like a huge confidence boost. And it
Mhm.
is like, okay, I can do this. And it actually can open a lot of doors for you that you wouldn't consider otherwise. So I love that story.
One of the cutest stories from one of my students, I think it was one of the first ones that you might have posted. I can't remember. He loves to tell this story where his teachers, and I've worked with him for 4 years, and he just kind of finished this year, and he loves to put people on the spot about his dyslexia. It's so cute. So his teachers asked him to read something out loud. This was just in the fall, I think. And he said, "You know, I have dyslexia, right?" And then his teacher was like, "Oh, yeah, right. Sorry." He's like, "But you know, I can do it because I learned all of this from my reading teacher." And so he loves to do that kind of stuff. And it's just those cute little stories that I think are hilarious that I want to share too.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, one of the ones that we did post. So just so cute. And,
Yeah,
you know,
I
just
love that.
so candid.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that because he's saying that, his teacher has to like go, oh yeah, I shouldn't put kids on the
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
But oh, this luckily for him, he's got the skills, he's got the confidence to not only call her out, but then still follow through and feel good about himself. Like
Yeah.
that's the best of all of it. But hopefully the next child in her class with dyslexia, she'll
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
those that are undiagnosed too. Like just don't call out, like don't put kids on the spot.
Right.
Anyway. Yeah. Are there any other, I would say dyslexia stories, either any of it, like any other myths that you want to share right now and bust right now, or even stories about yourself or your students and any other stories you want to share?
Well, do we want to share any more myths? Well, you guys should listen or
Follow us.
tune into our Instagram page for more myths and
Yeah.
truth.
Got to
For
keep
sure.
people on the hook a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I was like for me, I grew up as a theater kid, so I had to do a script read in front of everyone all the time.
Nice.
And I also grew up as a competitive dancer. So there's certain things that I just like could never like grasp the same as other people. But then randomly for me, it just clicks one day, and I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. And so now I feel like when I was growing up, I was told like I was never gonna be anything when I grew up, and like because like a lot of teachers were so mean, and I'm like, your job is to care for like children. Why are you not nice? Um, but I feel very proud of myself that I am where I am now.
Yeah.
And like I feel like my job has to do so much more with words than what I thought because
Yeah.
I read a lot to people and I talk like on the radio sometimes and stuff. So
Yeah.
so that's like really funny. But one day, like I'm always just kind of like I want to tell my teachers like you never thought I could do it.
Yeah. And look at me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is,
So heartbreaking that any teacher would have that attitude, let alone say it. Like it's bad enough to think it, and it obviously is wrong and incorrect, but also like how many kids believed you and didn't pursue their dreams, you
right.
know? So it's gross. I hate that. But I
Yeah.
love you and all of your success and
Yeah.
how awesome you are doing. All right. Anything that you guys want to share before we go?
Do we have anything
I would love
else?
for people to follow us and follow our journey into sharing the word of dyslexia to people.
And yeah, and our only goal is just to get people talking and spread the knowledge, share the cute stories, share the triumphs.
Perfect. Yes, we will have all of the links down below wherever you are watching or listening to this. Um, and yeah, follow Dyslexia Diaries on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for being on.
Thank
Thank you for having
you.
us.